Hi there, welcome back to another thing. Yeah, I know, it's been a while. I had shit to do, so did Sam, so we kind of took a break. It's fine, dandy, we're back. Oh, and for those that are wondering, hey, where's this or that or this or that? Yeah, we're either going to talk about it today or we're not. Because the simple truth is there are certain groups of interest that aren't worth your fucking time. So, with that being said, let's get into it. But before we do that, we should probably talk about our sponsor. Do you need the mindset for the grind set? Do you need to keep yourself awake and keep playing video games for longer periods of time? Then you should try dubby. Dubby Energy is more or less a all-natural supplement that keeps you going for 12 hours. I've been using it for a very long while, and it keeps me going no matter what. The flavor is pretty good, and it can continuously keep you going for 12 hours with no jitters, no feeling of, that usual feeling with energy drinks, and no crash after the 12 hours. If you really want to try it, the shaker cup and samplers are only around $14, and the best part is if you use that discount code right there, which is SCP40K at checkout, or hit the link in the description on my video, you can get 10% off your first purchase. And trust me, you'll like it. Me personally, I like Pushing Punch because it kind of tastes like a Glacier Cherry Gatorade, and it's so good. So again, that's w.gg, discount code SCP40K at checkout for 10% off. Now, back to the video. The Serpent's Hand. Oh, the Serpent's Hand. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, when it comes to the Serpent's Hand, this was probably one of the first groups of interest that came to the Foundation due to the fact that they were an individual group and it was very considered small. There wasn't supposed to be any, anomalous entities or anything, attached to it. It was just brought up in some lore in the background for a while. But then after a while, somebody took it and ran with it, and it turned into a very good group of interest. Case in point, after a raid on a Chaos Insurgent facility, basically, they found traces of the Serpent's Hand. Basically, the Traveler's Library, I should say. The Serpent Hand is basically the group of interest that controls the Traveler's Library and holds all the power of it. However, this is where it gets interesting, because unlike the Foundation, who want to contain and protect humanity, or the G.O.I, basically they want to make sure that, everybody is available to the anomalous entities. Even the bad ones, which at first glance you would think like, oh, that's actually kind of bad. But at the same time, you would think, no, that's actually pretty good. Because it would make some other things. But to be honest with you, the Serpent's Hand really, really, really hates the G.O.I to a degree that even I am impressed. Because they've literally gone and killed agents basically because they got too close or they just got too fucking uppity and tried to kill people within the Serpent's Hand, and they've completely and utterly decimated fucking certain individuals. Yeah, but hell, at least they're not punching sharks. Yeah, this was a meme. This was a meme. For those that don't know, the Shark Punching Center, or the SPC, was a joke that somebody put into the perspective of things. However, this is an actual subgroup that is completely and utterly only taken aback by certain things, including and not limited to any subnautic, aquatic, or land-based shark entities. Yeah. Not joking. They actually have their own system of categorization and also their own system of doing things. But I just have to say, wow, this was not supposed to be a real thing, but somebody took it and made it. And it's probably one of the funnier things because they don't use any technology or any actual, weapons. All they do is use their fists. They even have an SCP or an SPC shark who is identical to 682. It's a shark that can't die. Oh god. That's just... Why? Marshall Carter and Dark MD, or LTD, or Limited, or whatever the fuck they want to go by nowadays. Literally, they are a exclusive quote-unquote club of individuals that basically sell anomalous or very occultic items. The Foundation and multiple other groups have been trying to shut down their, racketeering and auction houses, but the problem is they still to this day have not and will not and cannot find what the hell they are, where they are, and what they are doing, because of the simple truth, again, they are basically everywhere. Marshall Carter and Dark have never been actually identified, and it's been rumored that these individuals are actually more or less just, well, I would have to say, weird individuals of anomalous power. They've never been seen, they've never been heard of, and the only time anybody's ever actually come into contact with one of them was Dark, and that was because he is basically a head of security, which is the interesting part of this. He's never been seen except for one person who was basically blinded, which to this day, no one actually knows what Dark looks like, or Carter, or Marshall. Marshall himself is basically the ringleader, setting up the programs. Carter is the accountant, more or less, and Dark is the enforcer. That's really all we got. Besides that, we're pretty much walking blindly. These guys never show themselves, always make sure that there is usually outside agents for their employment, and they never once use the same employer multiple times. It's so scatterbrained and shell-shocked that they actually might deserve their own separate video. Oh boy, I'm not even gonna attempt to say this correctly, because this is such a fucking scattershot of weird shit, I am not gonna try. IJAMEA, or
the Imperial Japanese Anomalous Matters Examination Agency, or IJAMEA.
That was basically the Japanese version of the IJAMEA, which was the Imperial German Anomalous Matters Extermination Agency. Which, that is oddly specific, but in all honesty, it's weird. See, Germany and Japan during the World War II era basically was contacted by both the G.O.I and the Foundation. Yeah, I know. But after World War II ended in basically around 1951, the Japanese and German Extermination Agency basically folded into what is now known as the G.O.I. And the Foundation basically acquired a lot of stuff from the post-war era, to the point where a lot of MTFs and SCPs were basically just up for grabs. And more or less, there were some instances where it was considered ridiculous. There were some minor problems with certain things. Let's just leave it at that. The Horizon Initiative, also known as basically the influential sect of 3 Arabic religions. It's more or less just a religious group of people that want to more or less stop the apocalypse. Yep, that's it. I can't really say much else on that. It's just literally that, in a nutshell of it. They literally have gone toe-to-toe with the Church of the Broken God, trying to stop it, and a couple other instances of SCPs that are considered, monsters or gods. They've even, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, they even stated that if they ever met 343, they would try to eliminate him. The biblical God. The one that basically is such a high-level reality bender that not even 682 himself will fuck around and find out with that dude. So yeah, kudos to you, dumbasses. The Manna Charitable Foundation, also known as the goddamn monster religious zealots. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, these guys. They are more or less an eternal faith humanitarian relief agency. Recovering Documents describes the Manna Charitable Foundation's mission as sharing all of God's miracles with the least of his children. Oh boy, how do I explain this? Long story short, these guys basically don't make their anomalous creatures, but they basically freely distribute anomalous objects and basically, like not world ending, but city busting and slight state busting, anomalous entities towards third world countries with warfare, famine, and natural disasters, just to say fuck you to everybody else around. When it comes down to it, the Foundation has put out a mission statement to literally put them in the ground as soon as possible. Even the G.O.I has actually done a joint task force in taking down these fucking guys, which is insane, because the SCP Foundation and the G.O.I usually never get along. Even the UIU want to fucking help bring these assholes down, which that is... When you got the fucking special ed kid saying, hey, I want to help out fight, yeah, that's not good on your fucking part, now is it? Medicine Academy of the Occult Arts. Oh, lovely, lovely day. I should say that because basically it's just a weird-ass fucking place. Long story short, this is more or less an ancient cultures and artifacts recovery group that love to find anything that has anything to do with, well, the ancient world. This group of interests is more or less just a group of people wanting to uncover ancient and former, interesting concepts and containment procedures. Because here's the interesting part. These entities that we call SCPs have been around for a very long time, which means that there has to be some type of a paper trail somewhere. Even if it's small, it has to be, something. So, with that being said, these guys basically take on themselves to more or less try to find and give the research they can find over to the G.O.I and the Foundation, just so that way they can try to find some ways of getting. Nobody. Yep, that's it. It's literally, we don't have a clue. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What do you mean by nobody? You ever, of G-Man from Half-Life, who just shows up randomly at random spots? Basically imagine that, but with a gray suit and a fedora, and he basically just shows up everywhere. It's weird because the simple truth is we don't have a clue. He's shown up in weird places, like inside of an actual containment cell, to an actual fucking, he showed up at the Gate Guardian one time, which we're, to this day, still trying to figure out how the fuck he managed to do that. Don't have a clue. But at the same time, we're trying to figure out why in the fuck this is happening. Because the simple truth is, we don't know anybody. So, least of all, nobody. ORIA, or the Office of the Reclaim of Islamic Artifacts. This group is more or less just as it sounds. It's a group of, Middle Eastern and Western Asian people trying to reclaim heritage for the Iranian governments. Long story short, the Republic of Iran basically said that they wanted to find and reclaim anything that had anything to do with their history, including anomalous entities. However, once the Foundation learned of this, we have been trying our damnedest to get these guys to understand, we will let you say you own them, but we are not going to let you have them. Because the simple truth is, there is an entity, an SCP, I'm actually going to look it up later, but if I remember correctly, there's an SCP that literally turns oil into water. Now imagine that in basically the biggest oil reserve area in the entire planet. If that fucker got out because, we claim it as our own, well, shit. Yeah, no, that's gonna basically say go fuck yourself, and everything in it is going to be taking a shit sandwich. So yeah, when it comes to these guys, we basically tell them, hey, look, we'll let you have them, but we need to make sure that they're secured, and we're going to be the ones to hold it. ORIA collection. Onidi.
Motherfucker.
Collection is basically comes to the Foundation only through an analyzing and interviews of anomalous objects they left behind. Basically, we have no fucking idea. These people were based on, it was interesting. We have no idea who they are, where they are, or what their goals are. But the thing is that these people are more or less just dream people. They don't exist, but they still exist. But they somehow do exist. It's one of the more interesting ones because they're not technically not alive, but they're not technically not dead. They're interesting because the simple truth is that they have had one of the few entities of this world that just does not exist, but they still exists. But they still left behind anomalous objects, but their anomalous objects are not existing. Again, confusing as fucking all get out. Parawatch. Oh, great. The crackpots are out again. Basically, these guys are, quote-unquote, the historians and the phantoms of the Foundation. They're not. It's a wiki page of conspiracy theory fucking people that are crackpots. However, the reason that they're on the Foundation's radar is because for somebody, we're just not going to name any names, i.e. Mr. Brightside, left and basically gave up a large chunk of our fucking intel to them. We don't know how or why, but it just happened. And from the moment that happened, somebody, somewhere, got the ability to basically somehow get information on anomalous phenomena that the Foundation didn't even know existed, but found out to exist. So currently we are trying to just get that one individual while the rest are just going to be left alone. Prometheus Labs. Prometheus Labs, also known as the creators of chaos with everyone, are more or less just a group of interest of fucking stupid people. They basically are the idiots that want to study anomalies and make them for, well, technology of government, militaries, or any other group of interests really wanting to pay them. However, they were slightly shut down for a good long while until they basically came back. Long story short, these guys created a lot of SCPs that the Foundation to this day are having a fucking aneurysm trying to control. And some of the former employees of Prometheus Labs have actually recovered during the time, and actually many of them have come over to the Foundation. But a lot of them have kept up their more sinister outlooks and become more or less anomalous black market dealers. Prometheus Labs opened in 1892 and closed in 1998, but they still to this day are complete and utter fucking with everybody. Sarkic Cults. You know the Church of the Broken God? You know how all of them basically worship, metal. Basically worship technology. These guys are the complete fucking opposite. They're flesh buddies. They love just to cull the weak, as they say. You know what that includes? Ritualistic cannibalism, human sacrifices, orgies, and a large group of fuck off, just sicko shit. Like Jesus freaking Christs. Oh, but you get flavoring with these psychos. You get Proto and Neo. Oh, boy, where do I begin with this fucked up shit? Proto basically are savages. They will kill anybody on sight that goes near them and will devour subliminally anybody, because they are basically living out their God's wish, which is to be a complete and total psycho. Neo, on the other hand, basically are subtle bastards that want to influence everybody into their grouping, including very influential families and rich people, due to the fact that after they are married off into a cult being's, occult being's grace, they will be fucking killed, and all that money goes towards the Neo people. When I say these people are sick in the fucking head, did you really think I was not joking? These are some sick individuals, and I'm pretty sure Sam does not want to talk about this more than we had to, so let's fucking move on. Three Moons Initiative. Also, one of the more interesting ones is basically the human race's ability to perceive multidimensional security threats. More or less, it was a conjoined unit, basically comprised of pretty much multiple entities, including the Foundation, the GOC, the UIU, even the Serpent's Hand was basically helping out with this. More or less, it's a interesting concept. It's basically human military organizations that are aiding each other in order to make sure that the multi-dimensional threats don't come into this world. And they've succeeded on multiple occasions, but they've been able only by the skin of their teeth when it comes to most things. That group, which is more or less... I should say that these people are basically just a ripoff of another group of interest, which, for those that are wondering what that group of interest would be, well, that's Arcadia, but that's besides the point. Arcadia and this group have been going back and forth for the longest time. It's just one of those weird ass things that has gone through. If you're going to look it up, I would suggest just looking it up, because, again, it's one of those weird ones where I don't think I could actually explain it perfectly. It's more or less this group and Arcadia basically don't like each other and have been fighting each other for the longest time. I don't know why, and I'm not going to explain it, because it's literally just so fucking hard to explain. Valravn Corporation. Oh my god. These guys are... These guys are just basically military hounds. That's it. They know about anomalous activities, anomalous beings, and anomalous creatures, but the Foundation doesn't have the power to get rid of them because the GOC basically protects them to a degree, because they're more or less suppressing anomalous rebel groups by themselves. They're more or less the counterinsurgency. Like, for the Chaos Insurgency, they're the counterinsurgency. They're a PMC that basically fights unstable religious people and also organizations that the Foundation, the GOC, don't have real time for. So the Foundation, the GOC, basically gave these guys a blank check and told them, here, take this shit, go kill those guys. Yeah, pretty much. Vikander-Kneed Media. The anomalous fucking media service for you and all. These basically are the people that want to be on top of the bleeding edge of media and communications technology to the point where it's just insane, because they actually have somehow found a way to predict the future, at least 24 hours in the future. It's one of those weird ones that you can actually find, and it's just interesting to the point. The Wandsman. Oh. Remember the last group where I said they can actually search 24 hours into the future? Well, these guys go the opposite direction. By that I mean they actually were basically a group of extra-dimensional journalists and archivists, because they travel between multiverses and uncover secrets that the Foundation would like them not to fucking uncover. To the point where the Foundation actually had a bounty on their CEO for the longest time. It's still never been confirmed he's dead, but he hasn't shown his face ever since an incident involving a certain SCP that basically can't die. So the Foundation basically thought maybe he is dead. So Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. Long story short, the castaways have had their shit to deal with these people. There's a large area in Oregon that the Foundation has had to put in containment, and basically castaways have been used on several occasions to make sure that the entities that are in the Winston's Wildlife Solutions is under control, to the point where multiple castaway individuals have been able to more or less keep safe and Euclid-based entities to a degree in containment. And yeah, that's it. That is every single group of fucking interest. Yeah, it's not as big as the MTFs, so it only took half of the time. But the problem is, there are still some interesting things that I need to go over. Case in point, the Black Queen is definitely getting her own fucking video. Not to mention the Factory, which we are going to talk about later. But there are interesting things nonetheless. With that being said, I want to say thank you guys so very much. And also, please, do remember, always. No, that was not a dog. That was just me shaking my fucking hair because it is...
Pronouncenames.com.
Oniri.
Oneri, onari, onari, onari.